okay? I'm just letting you guys know that today I will be covering chapter 2, mainly chapter 2, okay? And in chapter 2, actually, there will be a part which I think most likely will come out in the exam, and I feel like maybe y'all will struggle with it. So I will cover that with you guys. So after the seminar ends, our video actually will be uploaded into the YouTube channel, okay? So what I'm planning to do is something that I haven't yet in my YouTube itself, okay? So just in case you guys want to do revision on the other chapters that I couldn't cover for today, because today's session is only 2 hours long, so I don't think we can do many things. That's why my plan initially for the seminar itself is only chapter 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm not planning to do further than that lah, because we cannot manage it in 2 hours time. That would be too much for you guys to handle at once. So if you guys will need for the other chapters, right? Just letting you guys know that you can ask me question through my Instagram. Okay, so my Instagram, wait, writing like weird. So Instagram that you can ask me questions through. This is my account for Instagram. Okay, y'all can access me there. And then for YouTube, you guys can find my YouTube channel. Accounting with XinYi, okay? So y'all can look for my videos there lah, because for the past years we do have seminars as well. And so since my YouTube channel has been there since 4 years ago, so yeah, I have accumulated quite a lot of videos in there lah. So y'all can check out my channel for chapters that I couldn't cover for today. And the reason why I'm doing the things that I'm doing for today is because mainly the topics that are covered in this seminar notes, right? I have explained them in my YouTube channel before. So I feel like I should do something else that you cannot find there. So today my focus will be on chapter 2, but specifically 2.2. Okay, so what's a 2.2? 2.2 actually is this subtopic where they talk about penyata keuangan. Now, I just want to ask survey a bit lah. Okay, now I have about 10 of you in the class right now. Can I know, do you guys have any idea which chapters that your school exam is going to come up with? Because most of my students tell me that they will be having up to chapter 4. But some do say that their teacher mentioned chapter 7. Okay, now I'm just letting you know first, if your teacher mentioned that there will be chapter 7 coming out in your exam, just know that chapter 7 is the same as the topic in 2.2. Okay, so I will be using this 2.2 to cover chapter 7 for you if you are having it in your exam. Okay, now including those who teacher never say chapter 7, I would say you also need to prepare yourself. Why? Because chapter 2.2 is also in chapter 2, right? So means that there is quite a high chance you will see this question in your exam, so you better prepare. Okay, so I'm prepping you with that because penyata keuangan, right? The method of preparation is so different than persamaan perakaunan, because this one here, yeah, the persamaan perakaunan mainly just to fill up the table given. So all you do is you plus, you minus, and you find your result. But for penyata keuangan, you are literally preparing a report. So that's why you need to know how this report should go, what is the flow about it, from the first step to the last step where you get your result, how you should arrange your items. And this is very important, okay? So for now, I will tell you that first thing I will use is the soalan peperiksaan pertengahan tahun to give you example how your exam will look like. Because a lot of you guys actually don't know what to expect for your first exam, correct? This is literally the first exam. Usually we should have a first term exam before you sit for midterm. But since we started the year a little bit late, so that's why straight away you guys are sitting for midterm already. So that's why I think it's necessary for you to know, okay? Now, so let's go to page number 17 first. Let's go to page 17. Now, I would like to do a bit of correction here because I just realized it in my Mandarin session that I put the wrong mark for page 17. Okay, now over here in page 17, bahagian A, this is not 50 marks. Okay, you all change it to 60. Okay, I'm so sorry about that because I just realized it when I was calculating the marks. I realized that I put wrongly. So your paper 2 and paper 1 total is up to 140 marks. Okay, so what you must know is you will be having 2 papers for account. Paper 1 is objective. Means you will have 40 MCQ questions. They will give you A, B, C, D to choose from. Okay, so that's objective question lah. Now for your paper 1, this will give you 40%. While paper 2 is all subjective, I would say practical questions that you have to write them all out. So can I write subjective instead? So but it's okay lah. You all just know that paper 2 is what you see here for the example. So the mark is 100%. So of course, we know that full mark is only 100, right? How can paper 1 and paper 2 exceed 100? So I say the calculation goes like this. Total is 140, right? So we will see how much you score from your paper 1 and your paper 2. We will sum it up and divide by 140, then to multiply by 100%. So that is how you get your score. Is that okay? So this is your midterm exam. Now, just now, we were calculating in the Mandarin session, and just nice, I have gotten the answer to be 80%. If you can score your paper 1, 32 over 40, paper 2, you can score 80, you will get just nice 80%. Over 100%, okay? So if you guys are aiming for A the first time, then of course, you can go according to that law, but you can do better on your paper 1, of course. If you feel like you are less confident on your paper 2, you feel like getting 80 marks is a bit difficult, then you can try to score well on your paper 1, or you try to get 35 and above, then which is actually will help you to fill up the gap of your paper 2. Yeah, so I say this is the best luck because a lot of students say, teacher, what about getting 70 marks? It's also A minus in SPM. But I say now you are a Form 4 student, of course I follow school marking. School marking, they don't have A minus, A plus, they only have A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so that's why if you want to score A, you have to get 80 and above. If you want to score B, then it's probably 70 and above. So if it's C, then it's 60 lah. Okay, so usually school marking grade system is a little bit tougher to get A. I mean, you want to get A, you must be 80 and above lah. So that's why if you want just nice, 32 at least for your paper 1, 80 for your paper 2, okay? And how you should score those marks, I say. For your paper 2, how to get 100% is by combining bahagian A and bahagian B. So first thing you must know is your bahagian A comes in 3 questions. Question 1, question 2, question 3. Okay, now question number 1 will be 10 marks. Question 2 and 3, both 25. So which total up to 60 marks over here for your bahagian A. And all jawab semua soalan is wajib. You cannot choose. You have to do them. Okay, so there's no choices for you lah. Okay, and now this is the first time you see exam paper. So I purposely choose to put like an example for you guys so you know how you expect for your exam by the time. So in your bahagian A, right, first question, they will be presented in a structured question way. So they will put total to 5 points, A, B, C, D, and E. So each of the point will be 2 marks, okay? So what they ask here, mainly for question number 1, they love to ask about theory questions. So it's from your bab 1 for sure, okay? So you can see like first question asking for Gitaran perakaunan. Gitaran perakaunan is literally the first thing you learn in your chapter 1, which I also included in our nota for you. You can check out page number 2. This is Gitaran perakaunan. So your answers must come from these 8 steps, okay? So total is 8 peringkat. You will look at the sentence first before you choose your answer law, okay? Of course, so from the 8 steps, which one is applicable? Now, a lot of you guys will be confused whether to write your answers into the given box or not, because I know now in page 17, you do see boxes there, right? You all will be very tempted to write your answers in that, but no, okay? Your paper 2, answer all in test pack. So you're not allowed to write your answers here because you will not get marks, okay? Just to let you know first, even if they give you a box, how you should answer it, you will be writing on your test pad, okay? Your test pad, you put question 1, A, point 1. 0.2. Can you understand? So please make sure to write all of your answers into the given test pad, because formal exams, you all don't write on the question paper one. But of course, if you want to write down notes on the question paper, example, you're trying to analyze this and that, is it okay? Yes, okay. Your papers can be written with stuffs, but the question paper will not represent your answer. Is that okay? So whatever you write in there, your teacher won't mark. They will only mark based on your test pad paper, and also whatever paper that they give you extra lah, okay? And yeah, everything must answer in test pad. Yes. Okay, right. So sometimes, right, those that don't answer in test pad is like this one here. Example, the jadwal, they would probably be printed out on another piece of paper, which they call it a lampiran A, lampiran B. So if your teacher give you like separate sheets of paper, then those are the papers that you have to answer on. Is that okay? Now, those with given format, you answer on the paper that they give you, but it's never on the kertas soalan. Kertas soalan is always just for you to look at the question. Your answers must be answered on a separate piece of paper. Okay, yeah? Right, so now that you understand how your question one will be, right? So basically, I would reserve the first page of your test pad for question 1A, B, C, D, E. Okay, but one page is enough for question number one. After you finish your question number one, then you look at your question number two to proceed. Okay. Now, I believe that you guys, when answering question number one, surely will get stuck a little bit because it's all theory, right? If you didn't remember this part, then you couldn't answer. So my solution to it is don't stop here for a very long time. Usually for your soalan satu, best is to give it only 10 minutes. Okay, if you cannot guarantee you finish in 10 minutes time, then you move on from it first. You leave that page empty, go ahead and do your question number 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because theory questions get you stuck is very normal. Then why not we just go and do those calculations first before coming back to here? So that's why you guarantee your calculations are done. Then you have time to slowly think about your answer for question number 1. So please try not to spend overtime on question 1 because it's not worth it. It's only 10 marks here. You are wasting other 90 marks just for these 10 marks. Okay, you see, not worthy. Okay, so we will just leave this aside and go ahead to our question 2 if you have problems with it. Okay, so I'm saying that now you are supposed to answer about the gitaran. You tell them which step, but don't tell me peringkat pertama. No, the peringkat must be actual name of the step itself. Example, first step is document penyagaan. You write document penyagaan. Second step is buku catatan pertama. You answer buku catatan pertama. Okay, never tell them the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't want that. Okay, so after you finish A, then B is asking for ciri-ciri kualitatif penyata keuangan. So this one here, I also did include in our nota. Later, we will go through at towards end of the class. Okay, and then for C, asking for model. Now here, the moment you see them giving you a list of numbers, being asset and liability, okay, then you tell yourself, you have no other formulas in Form 4. You only have A equals to L plus EP. And I will tell you guys that they will never ask you to look for asset or liability. It's always the equity per minute. And to be exact, which EP are we talking about? The EP that we talk about is always model. Is that all right? So even if they don't say model, they say hitungkan equity per minute. You yourself have to understand the EP that you're looking for is called the model. Is that all right? Wait, Oh, I thought someone's asking me about seminar. Okay. Anyways, let's move on. Okay. So the EP, how you calculate that, you would have to look at the marks, guys. Judging by the mark, dua mark. Do you guys think you can just write the answer straight away? Model equals to RM. No, you do that, you get 1 mark. Okay. So the moment you see there is 2 marks, you have to ensure you show working answer. There must be 2 layers to it, okay? So that there is how you get 1 mark, 2 mark, okay? But of course, if you realize that they are giving you only 1 mark, do you want to show them the working? I would say best you show, because sometimes your answer may be wrong, but since the working, the concept is correct, your teacher maybe can give you marks based on that. So maybe half a mark is also good enough, right? So we try to show them whatever we do. Even though sometimes it's quite long lah, then you try to cut it short. Example, you don't have to write EP equals to A minus L. You don't have to write that. You just straight away put model equals to all the assets minus the liability with the numbers. Okay, so you get 2 marks just from this answer. Okay, so moving on to D. This is very important. Andaian prinsip dan batasan, right? I actually have the full explanation in my videos as well. So today I might not be able to cover that, but don't be worried. You can find them in my video for sure. Okay. So the andaian prinsip and batasan, this one you have to remember. There are 4 types of andaian, 3 prinsip, 1 batasan. So your answer is not to write andaian prinsip batasan. Now, of course, I say you want to write batasan can, but after batasan, you have to tell me what exactly that batasan is, okay? So what andaian are you talking about? So to be which andaian, prinsip dengan batasan, you all can actually refer to page number 6. I put everything there for you already, okay? So you are supposed to give them answer as per this. Entity berasingan, wang sebagai ukuran usaha berterusan. If you just write andaian straight away, 0 mark. Okay, so no, they are not asking for this. They are asking for the content within andaian. Which of the following andaian fits into the question? So you make sure do not ever choose andaian prinsip ataupun batasan. Even though sometimes the question seems like trying to ask you to do that, right? So it's just a trick question. So make sure you guys don't choose that. Do not write them as your answer. You're supposed to tell them among the 4, which one? Among 3 of the prinsip, which one is actually suitable for it. Okay, right. So then last one here, talking about klasifikasi account. Yeah, what's klasifikasi? Klasifikasi is asset, liability, EP, hasil dengan belanja. Total of 5. But is it really 5? No, if we are talking about asset, if let's say the following choice you choose is an asset, you make sure you are supposed to tell me exactly if it's an ABS or AS. Same goes to liability. You also have to tell me whether it's a LBS or LS. So only for asset dengan liability, you have to be more specific. But for EP and hasil dengan belanja, they are just EP hasil belanja. There's no other names to it. Okay. So like example here, if you see deposit, make sure that you know the answer is asset semasa. Okay. Now, can you write AS? No, you have to spell asset semasa. Okay. Now alat tulis, there's no asset type. Alat tulis is considered belanja, so you spell belanja. That's where you get 2 marks. Okay, so when you guys practice, right, you can just get any piece of paper, best test pad to test out to write your answers into the test pad itself, so you can practice. Okay, so I purposely give you guys example questions so you can try out before your exam. Okay, yeah? Right, so now I will go into the topic that I want to cover for the first place. Okay, so first thing I want to do with you guys is the question in bahagian B, but I let you go through first. Okay, question from bahagian A, question 2 is starting page 18. This one surely come out one. What is this? Persamaan perakaunan. Now later towards the end of the class, I will actually choose 2 questions from here to cover and so let you know what's the concept about it, okay? Because there's a bit of confusion here that a lot of students don't know how to answer. So I will come back to here later towards the last 10 minutes of the class, okay? So persamaan perakaunan will be a 25 marks question. How they assign the mark? Usually most is at the persamaan. So 16 marks will be from the jadual and another 4 marks will, another 9 more marks will be at your penyata kedudukan kewangan. Now, by the way, the jadual, right, they won't give you this size, okay? And they also won't put underneath the soalan. I already said, usually your answer paper is separated from the kertas soalan. So what happens is there will be an A4 paper given to you with the table printed horizontal. Okay, so you can imagine it's a A4 size, but they make it horizontal. They print full size for you. So this table would actually be bigger in actual exam. Now, all these boxes that you think, wow, now so small, don't worry. Exam time, it will be enlarged. So you have space to write lah, okay? So they will tell you, merekod urusnya ke bulan Oktober dalam jadual lampiran. Now, I never put what alphabet because maybe in front already got lampiran A, then now it's lampiran B, and then C, D. So they will separate it lah, okay? So A is to answer in the lampiran given, which is the table. So you just fill up accordingly lah. After you fill up, then you will continue to this one here on page 19. That is your PKK. Now, by the way, I don't think they will provide this for you, okay? Now, if it's not given, write it on your test pad. Okay, so your teacher will give you test pad paper again. I said everything will be in test pad, right? So if there is no jadwal given for the PKK on your test pad, what are you supposed to do? Now, guys, A4 size test pad, right? Okay, you just need to use the test pad paper. You draw the T shape. Okay, because the penyata kedudukan keuangan format is literally just a T shape where it splits to the left and the right side. So you just make sure you do the normal way we'll do law, okay? So now here, I print out for you because for your convenience, you can answer straight away on the piece of paper. But if they provide for you, then you just fill up, okay? Never provide, please draw it on your own. Now it's a T shape where you have left side and right side with 2 RMs each sides. Okay, yeah? Right, so later we will see, we can come back to here lah. But PKK, I think I will leave it there because it's just basically your format is A equals to L plus EP ma, right? When you put it into the T shape, you just follow. Asset goes to the left side, LEP goes to the right side. Okay, so position-wise, asset we have 2, right? So you just make sure it's always the ABS that comes first, only to the AS. On the other side will be EP to come first, only LBS, LS. Okay, so in the end, this PKK will show total on the left and the right side. It must be similar to what? Your jadual persamaan. So earlier in the part A, if you found out the total on left and right is the same already, you have to make sure your PKK here shows the same as well because you are literally transferring answer from your jadwal into this format. That's it, ma. So you have to make sure they are aligned lah. The answers must be the same, okay? So you just need to do this on the test pad if they never give you. All right, yeah? So far, any questions that y'all would like to ask? Clear up to here? I haven't started doing any questions yet. I'm just guiding you all on how to answer your exam. Okay, yeah, because I think as a student right now, you're surely very panicked, don't know what to expect, right? So I believe you all feels that I want to help you guys with that also. So now what you expect for your question 1 and 2 would most probably be that. Now, of course, I never guarantee that this question must be at number 2. It can also be at 3, 4, 5. So it depends on how your teacher arrange it. But however, I think the chances of it coming out is mostly 80% already lah, okay? Right, so we're going to move on to question 3. Now, this question 3 is chapter 3, document, to chapter 4, buku catatan pertama. Now, by the way, I think mostly you guys will be having this in your exam because I don't think midterm exam only comes out with chapter 2 makes sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So usually exam midterm should be until chapter 4. I think most of you are expecting that. So I am not covering that in my seminar, but I do give you an example question so you can try out, okay? Now, this question, right, if you want to modify, I give you the flexibility. And in the case of any one of you having chapter 5 in your exam, okay, what you can do is you can add on your answer for bab 5 leja. You add on yourselves, okay, on test pad paper. Okay, again, why you can use test pad paper? Because leja, right, the format is a T shape again. So if you have a test pad paper, basically you just need to go on your paper, draw a middle line, then you can start practicing your leja. Okay, if your school are coming out with leja lah, but mostly if don't have this chapter bab 5, then you just need to stop up to the question requirement that is bab 4. Again, I say it's not forceful. up to your school exam. If your school exam really do have ledger, then you better do practice to go from chapter 3 up to the step of chapter 5. But if your school doesn't have it, then you just do until chapter 4 will do. Okay, yeah? Now, for question number 3, right, very important thing is to analyze document, I know. But the thing is, before document, right, you have this upper section here showing you a list of assets and the liability. It's the same as chapter 2. Once again, guys, the formula is what? A equals to L plus EP. Believe me, usually the question don't give you EP1. No matter it's chapter 2 or chapter 4, or even we say in Form 5 chapters, they always miss out model. So you have to find out your own. Can you see? There is no model here. Okay, so making sure that every time when you start doing the document question, right, you find out the model yourself by using the formula again, asset tolak liability to get EP. Now, in the case, if you don't see any liability at all, then asset is equals to EP straight away. So you just combine all of them. So you make sure that before you go into lampiran A, which is the document, the beginning list here is what we call as the catatan permulaan. Okay, it's a beginning balance for no matter a new business or an existing business. You are continuing or you just want to start, okay? So no matter what is a new one lah, okay? Mula. So this thing will definitely have to be copied into our format called Journal one of the books in your buku catatan pertama. So the main reason why Journal is the perfect book for you to record all of these assets, liability, and EP is because of its format having debit and credit at the same time. So we will be copying every single one of them into the journal using the format of asset on debit side, LEP on credit side. So you will do that to your journal and not to forget this list will have 2 tasks. First task is to put inside journal Second task, only to pick the money form, that is tunai bank, tunai di bank, tunai di tangan. You put them into the other book that is called the buku tunai. Now, the main reason why is because you understand all of these are an opening balance, okay? Now, if my buku tunai is mainly tasked to calculate money in, money out, before I can actually do anything at all, I must make sure that this book comes with money, right? So that's why the beginning balance, not just to put inside the journal for one time, you also have to do a second time, just the money into your buku tunai. So this upper section is fixed. You always do 2 steps for the upper section, okay? Now, once you finish already, then you can start analyzing your documents to decide you want to put which one into journal khas, or buku tunai. Now, by the way, guys, over here is stated tidak termasuk journal penerimaan tunai, journal pembayaran tunai. There's a reason, because the total journal khas, right, is 6 types. Covers what? Journal belian, journal jualan, journal pulangan belian, and journal pulangan jualan. Total is 4 books, yeah, that we actually have to prepare if it's excluding the 2 behind. Now, the reason they ask you to exclude them is because journal penerimaan records when money comes in. Journal pembayaran is when we pay money. Money goes out. So you see, actually, right, this record that you're doing is exactly what the buku tunai does, okay? So if I really request for buku tunai, then there's no point for me to ask you about the penerimaan and the pembayaran tunai again, because they are overlapping, okay? So usually when they ask for buku tunai, right, these 2 is excluded one, okay? But if you realize the question did not ask for buku tunai, then there is high chance you will be requested to open these 2 books separately, okay? So just be prepared for that in case if buku tunai did not happen. But I say, most probably no. Usually buku tunai will be asked lah, because buku tunai is a favorite. Even in Form 5 also, they love to ask buku tunai one. So in Form 4 especially, they will make you practice for it. So definitely you will see this lah. It won't be excluded, okay? All right, so now we will move on to the other question. So this is the 25 marks question I'm expecting for your midterm exam, because they have the most marks to come up with. So now, if it's coming to bahagian B, right? Okay, now guys, I prepared the lampiran for you. You can answer your journal, your buku tunai in page 24, 25, 26, Okay, now I didn't give you ledger paper. If you want to do ledger, please do it on a test pad. Okay, right. So now we move on to page 27. And this is the question we are going to do in the main seminar. Okay, right. So page 27. What is this? Yeah, I'm showing you. This is the example of subtopic 2.2, otherwise also known as bab 7. It is called the Penyata Keuangan. So if your school teacher say, oh, we are doing chapter 7, don't worry, it's the same as chapter 2.2. So I'm covering it overall for all of you guys. Even if your teacher did not say chapter 7, you also will have this because it's in 2.2, okay? So you have to prepare for it. What exactly is a penyata keuangan and the usage of it? So you see, now they have given you all informations of Perniagaan Jiaxi of 31st July 2024. So they give you an entire year of informations in the list right now. Okay, of course, in the list, they will cover every single classifikasi that is asset, liability, EP, hasil, and belanja, all within the list. Now, it's a bit difficult because now they only put one RM without splitting them into debit or credit. So you have to actually recognize the terms in order to know which kind of category they sit in. Okay, so now I will teach you what to do for preparation. Whenever they give you this kind of question, best is you split the list into a few sections. So it's easier for you to look for numbers as well. And we can see which section we haven't used yet. So I usually will split them by every 5 items. Okay, so you go by this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will draw a line. Is that okay? So you split them by sections first so we can be more organized. So every 5, we draw a line. Repeat until you have no more 5 items, okay? So that's basically where you stop lah. Now, after you finish drawing the lines, you will see the last 2 leave there, but it's okay. Don't be OCD. I usually would just leave them like this lah, okay? But of course, if you feel like, teacher, I want to see everything uniform, then you go and count how many things are in there first, then you divide lor. But it's totally unnecessary because the main point of it is to help you find numbers easily ma. So doesn't matter lah, guys, okay? I go by every 5. So right now, let's talk about what's chapter 7 or subtopic 2.2. Now, penyata keuangan is the terms that they show you down here. Anda dikehendaki menyediakan account perdagangan dan untung rugi penyata kedudukan keuangan. Now, I believe you guys should recognize the B, which is penyata kedudukan keuangan. We just mentioned about them earlier. It's also in your chapter 2, correct? But the only difference now is both of them are now requested in bentuk penyata. Okay, now the meaning of penyata. Penyata means statement. Okay, a statement will not have left and right side. A piece of statement should go from the top till the end. So how it looks like is it will come with columns by the right side for you to put numbers. Is that okay? So no matter for your A or your B, you will be using the right side to fill up with numbers, and none of them are left or right side. They are just columns that represents RM. Okay, now if you ask me, among these 3 RMs, which one is the main one? Answer is the third one on the right hand side is the main column. So you can see what? You can see the first 2 columns as a backup. Whenever I need to split my items, I will go to the first 2. But if there is no need to split, I will always be using the main column. So that is how it works, okay? So I usually will assign them by column number 1, column number 2, column number 3. So the sequence goes by how you usually put 1, 2, and 3 lah, guys, okay? We don't purposely change the sequence. You do as per normal. So even here also, we use it the same way. And now, just to let you know the concept of the columns first, okay? I would say you understand it as a staircase method. Okay, now I'll be drawing a staircase for you, okay? Using just 3 steps because we only have 3 columns, correct? Now, since the third column is the main one, so we will start drawing from the third step until the first. So it will be like this, 1, 2, 3. So 3, 2, 1 is how we label. Okay, because from the left to the right, 1 to 3, so left to right, 1 to 3. And of course, the stairs won't end here. The stairs will continue downwards again, but eventually you will see it coming back to the third column again. Okay, so that's how you use your staircase basically. Let me write over here. So you will go by sequence from 3 to 2 to 1 and slowly come back to 3 again in the end. Okay, so you tell yourself that no skipping. No skipping. If you skip, you will fall down, okay? So you will do wrongly. That's why here, the concept of no skipping is, can I be using third column? Suddenly, I go to the first column? No. If you want to go by sequence, if you're in the third column, now, as we move in front, you can only go to the second, okay? Now, from the second step, can you go to the first one? Yes, you can go to the first one. But if you do not want to go to the first one, can I go back to the third? Yes, because they are nearby, okay? So we don't jump. It's always the nearest one that you would move around. So it's from to the left or to the right, okay? So the third one, second one. And then slowly come back to the second, to the third again. So this is how it looks like in your format itself. No matter it's the first one or the second one, they work the same way, okay? Yeah. So how do you know whether we should move in front? Ayo, sorry, I don't know why my pen suddenly have so many things come out, okay? Only move to the left. Only move to the left, which means to the second or the first column, if needed to group things separately. Which means that now this group of numbers are supposed to be separated from the other group. So I will go to the front. But if there is no need to separate anymore, I would want to combine them. Then they will come back and meet each other in the same column. Is that understandable, guys? Up to here. So how you use the column is from the right to the left, from the left back to the right again. Okay, right to left, left to right. So it comes back to the third column eventually. So your final answers all must be seen on the third column. Only the third column. So all your second column and first column numbers are all just a process. They are not the final answers yet. Okay, and now let us talk about the format itself. Inside of it, what is the content? So in part A, it's called the account perdagangan dan untung rugi. So just for your information, you can note down that the other name of this part A is called the penyata pendapatan. Okay, it's called the penyata pendapatan. Now, a lot of people don't know, but this is actually the old syllabus. And why should I mention the old syllabus to you when it's now all become new already? So I say it's because I see in SPM, they purposely come up with penyata pendapatan. So I don't know. I would say there are chances for your school teacher to make the question like this to you as well. So if you ever see penyata pendapatan, please know that it's the same as account perdagangan dan untung rugi. Is that okay? So they are just different names, but the format is the same. Okay, now this part A, our task from part A is to do hasil tolak belanja. So we can get the result of untung atau rugi. Okay, but untung or rugi comes in two stages, kasah and bersih. So what you must know is the kasah version versus the bersih version. Obviously, the bersih one is the final answer. So you can be earning money at the first stage, which is kasah, untung kasah. But is it guaranteed that you will have untung bersih in the end as well? No. Maybe you can begin with untung kasah, but ends up rugi bersih. So the intention of having two stages is so for my boss to understand where is the problem. Okay, because sometimes my sales is so good. I am earning 1,000,000 ringgit, but turns out in the end, I am having a kerugian. Rugi bersih 10,000. So what went wrong? Is it that my expenses is too much? But which kind of expenses is too much right now? I need to know, right? So hasil, we have to split into two groups, okay? So account perdagangan here is focusing on dagang, means to do trading, while untung rugi is for the rest of the hasil and belanja. So now, of course, I cannot straight away begin with the question because you all haven't known to see the full format yet. So right now, before we start the page 27, I would like to go to the format page and explain everything to you. Okay, so please look at format page 9. I've prepared it for you already. Page 9. Can find? Yeah, I repeat again. So this page 9 here is a subtopic 2.2. It is also chapter 7. Okay, so right now, for this account perdagangan, dagang stands for trade. Untung rugi is for the rest of hasil belanja. Okay, so usually when it is meant for trading part, right, I will make you guys label the sections item as AP. AP stands for account perdagangan in short form, okay? So I will go to the question and look for AP related items to label so we can organize them into the format. While for the rest of hasil and belanja, these are the expenses or income that is not directly related to our products. So you see, if I open a restaurant, my income should come from selling food, right? So if I tell you now that the income is, oh, I received discount from a supplier, this discount is not directly related to my food, correct? So it's a discount given extra from another person. That's why we consider them to the back part of hasil dengan belanja. So the label for this back part is H circle for hasil, B circle for belanja. Is that all right? So we will give them a different label. If it's for the account perdagangan, we put AP. Hasil belanja for the rest, which is unrelated to your product, then we put the symbols this way. Okay, yeah? And now, the section goes like this. Account perdagangan will only begin from jualan until untung gasa. Is that okay? So from jualan until untung gasa. Meanwhile, account untung rugi, which is the later part, will begin from untung gasa until untung bersih. So they overlap, of course. That's why you need the answer from the top part to connect to the later parts, okay? So to be very honest with you, the bottom part is no challenge at all. You just need to recognize the hasil and the belanja that's left inside of the question. The most challenging part is this middle section here, which a lot of students struggle with, okay? So I will let you know how you can remember the positions and so on, okay? Now, every section, no matter is the account perdagangan or the untung rugi, they will repeat the same thing 2 times. Hasil minus belanja. Hasil minus belanja. For 2 times, that is how you get your untung ataupun rugi. Gasa dengan bersih. So, the section that represents hasil for the account perdagangan is jualan until jualan bersih. Okay, now you guys see that there is a negative symbol beside the pulangan jualan, right? Do you know why it's a negative to jualan? Because a lot of people don't know about it, okay? So pulangan stands for what? Return of sales. So at first, right, I said, okay, this is the sales that we have. I get to sell 100K, let's say. That's my sales. But throughout the year, I also had customers who were dissatisfied with my product. So they returned 10,000 worth of it back to me. Did I get to sell this 10,000? Actually, we didn't get to sell them. So if I didn't get to sell them, of course, my sales cannot be shown 100,000, correct? I have to change it to become 90,000. So that's exactly the reason why when your jualan needs to go through changes, you need to give it a new name that is called the jualan bersih. Okay, so question is right now, guys, if we do not have pulangan, do you guys think you have to write jualan bersih once again? If there's no pulangan jualan, what should you do? If there's no pulangan jualan, these 2 rows will be avoided. Okay, why? Because any changes happen to your sales? No. Then why do you want to write 2 times of the same number for me? Example, we got no pulangan jualan. Your sales is 100,000. You say, teacher, I want to write again. Then what? You put 100,000 again. Do you know what will happen? Later, you will think you have 200,000 because you write 2 times of it, ma. You're going to add together. But no, the concept of a jualan per se is only if there are any changes to your sales. If there's no changes, guys, this is already the per se version. I don't need to mention it further. Okay, so the only reason why we had this layer is so because there are changes to it. Okay, right. So once you have done calculating your total sales, the final amount, it's time that we come into cost jualan. Okay, what's the meaning of cost jualan? In English, we call it cost of sales. Now, question is, now all these costs that you see within the section, must they be items that are sold or not sold? What do you guys think? If it's called cost of sales, must I sell them already or not sold yet also can? The cost here, does it include every single product or is it that the things only we get to sell? Now, the answer, guys, is sales stands for things you got to sell. So if you want to consider it as a cost of sales, you must make sure the products are sold. Okay? If you didn't sell, can you actually include them in the cost jalan? You cannot. Okay? So that's why here in your cost jalan, you mainly have 3 sections that is called inventory hour, beginning amount of your inventory, belian, newly bought product, inventory RQ, the leftover stocks in the year. Okay, so you see your inventory RQ must be excluded. Why? Because I said it's called cost of sales. You must have already sold them to consider them as cost, right? If you didn't sell, do you include them in the cost? You don't. So that's why for inventory RQ, you have to exclude. Okay, so the process go by beginning amount. So these are from last year. Leftover stocks from last year. Leftover stocks from last year. And belian, newly purchased stocks. So you can understand it's new stocks lah, okay? So I just need to let you know that we have the old stocks, we also have the new stocks right now. But if I combine them, what you get is just the total of it. Can I conclude it as cost of sales? No, I have to make sure the leftover stocks this year is excluded. So that's why we will take the old plus the new, exclude the leftover. So that's why this is how you get your cost jualan. But of course, in between, there will be some calculations to be done as well lah. Because when you purchase something new, okay, you buy things from Shopee. What is it that the extra costs that will incur to you when you purchase something on Shopee? You have to pay shipping fee. You have to pay tax, correct? Sometimes there will be tax lah, okay? Because why the thing maybe come from China, come from another country, you will be taxed because of the imported goods, okay? So in that case, belian actually would come with extra expenses that we call by the name of AUDI. Over here lah, okay? The full name of the AUDI is angkutan masuk, upah, duty dengan insurance atas belian. So we just try to make it short form so you can remember easily lah. But to be honest, right, there are so many steps in here. Maybe you will feel like burning kepala when you try to memorize, okay? So what happens here is I usually will go by a foot to explain this section to you. The cost jalan, I always mention them as a burger format, okay? So why burger? Because you see, I draw to you, right? What is this two in your burger? This two is the bun, all right? So in between, there will be a patty. And also, of course, in the burger, you will see vegetables, you see tomato, you see cheese, okay? So this is a burger, where the full format is a burger, where the first two that I draw, they are the same things, right? Bun. So separate them to early, layer, inventory hour. The last layer, inventory RQ. So remember the start and the end, okay? So in between here, the most important component in your burger is the patty, so which we will see them as bolian. So you see, if I don't like vegetables, I don't need the extra cheese or sauce. I will just tell them, saya nak burger dengan patty sahaja. So your burger will look like this. Right, okay, without any vegetables or no other things that are added, just the meat and the bun. So this is actually possible for them to be in the exam because sometimes they don't put additional stuffs. So you just need to do what? Inventory hour added with bolian to get the total, and then you deduct the inventory RQ. This is how you get your cost jualan. Okay, but if let's say now they have added extra component, so this one's after the bolian is considered the Audi. Okay, so you just remember the sequence of your cost jualan is inventory hour to start, bolian, Audi, inventory RQ. So these four things are arranged in this manner. Okay, now can you ever put the Audi on top here? Never. Okay, so go by my burger style. I know you guys would say, teacher, sometimes I see the vegetable on top one ma. So that one is other people's burger lah, but my burger, all the vegetables at bottom of the bolian. Okay, all right, so remember the sequence will go like that. Okay, now angkutan masuk, all those I will write explanation for you. Angkutan masuk is shipping fee. Upah is for salary, okay, workers. We can say labor fee lah. Because when you purchase a bulk amount, right? So of course I need labor to help me move them into my store. So we pay them labor fee to move the stuffs, okay? And then duty is tax. Insurance, I think you all know, but the requirement here is if they never say atas bolian, you cannot choose to put under Audi. If it's just insurance itself, right, guys, where should you place your insurance? You should place them at the normal belanja. Why? Because when there is no atas bolian mentioned, this insurance is only considered insurance of the store. So I buy it for the shop. I scared later got fire accident or stuff like that. So I buy insurance for the store itself or anything that's inside lah. But if you tell me specifically, it's an insurance for the purchase. It's just like how when you buy things on Shopee and Lazada, they will ask you if you want protection program or not. So if you take the protection program option, then you will be charged an extra fee just to make sure your products arrive safely to you. Okay, so insurance, if there is no atas bolian, remember where to put it? Put it at the bottom belanja section. Okay, yeah? So right now, okay, how do you organize the position of your items into the columns? Remember I said the sequence is first column, second column, and the third column. You always start at the third column and the third column as well. Okay, start and end is at the third column. So the second and the first column, right, is used for processes, correct? So you see, this section here represents the actual jualan. Now, if I want to get untung or rugi, I must make sure jualan bersih get to deduct with cost jualan. But now, if I just started with inventory hour, have I found any cost yet? I haven't yet. So I have to go through like plus minus before I can get my cost jualan, right? So you understand the second and the first column is where we group our cost jualan. When we finally able to find the cost jualan out, then you will see it sitting on the third column, meeting with jualan bersih. So that is where you can JB tolak KJ, you get untung kasar atau rugi kasar. So you will never move your processes to the third column unless you finally found cost jualan. Understandable? So do not ever use the third column for any expenses except for final answer. So in the meantime, when I'm trying to group my burger, I will have to put on the second or the first column, right? So I teach you this, okay? Now you see, the bun and the burger meat and everything is supposed to be assembled separately. Why? Because your patty is raw. Can you just serve raw patty to your customers? Of course not. So I see your burger, right, will be like this. The bun, I will fry them together. So these two will use the second column. Okay, the start and the end will all be on the second column. Now, meanwhile, before I can assemble the patty and the vegetables, I will cook them separately, right? So separately, the patty, the vegetable, the tomato, the cheese, they will all be on the first column. Once these are done assembled, I will move it back here where your burger becomes 1. So you see, the process is exactly the same. Inventory hour, inventory RQ, they are in the second column. When do I ever get to assemble a full burger? Is when the patty, the vegetable, the tomato, and cheese are done assembled on the first column. Then the answer will come back here. Okay, can you all remember that? So your burger has how many layers? 4 layers. So the first layer and the last layer will be on the second column. But the second layer and the third layer must be assembled separately first. So what are those again? Repeat. The first section of your burger is inventory hour. Last section, inventory RQ. So second one here is the belian. Third one is AUDI. So that is how you arrange them. Okay, so once done, now the answer, I don't want to keep on the first column anymore, because if I keep them at the first column, can my burger be completed? Cannot. So that's why before we even go with inventory RQ, when I move over, the first answer I will meet with is inventory hour. Can you see? So this one here, yeah, we call them by the name of cost belian. So you bracket belian sahaja. Now the meaning of cost belian is the cost of purchase. So can I include the old stocks? We cannot, because the old stocks, right, I purchased them since last year. So there wouldn't be any extra expenses upon them. Then we say, talking about the newly purchased one, then of course there will be extra cost incurred on top of it. So here, why we separate the new and the old stocks is because all these angkutan, upah, and duty dengan insurance did not happen because of inventory hour. They happened because you buy new stocks. So that's why it's only fair that we group the expenses with the new ones together. So starting from belian until Audi, they will all be on the first column. So once we found the jumlah of it, then it will come back to the second column, where we take the old and the new to combine. Okay, old plus the new, here what we get is a total of stocks. But the thing is, it's a total of stocks. But did you sell all of them? We didn't, because this year we still have leftovers. So that's why you have to take the total of stocks, deducted the leftover, and that is where we consider that as your cost jualan. So you see, staircase one by one. So from the third to the second, second to the first, and come back to the second, to the third again. So staircase method completed. Now, so very important thing is the sequence of your account perdagangan. If you can get this right, then there should be no problem for you to answer at the bottom, because mainly it's just the upper section that you might get stuck. Okay, and I can tell you the maximum butil terms that you can use in your account perdagangan is 10. What are the 10 terms? I show you. First term, jualan. Second term, pulangan jualan. Third, inventory hour. Belian, pulangan belian, AUDI, inventory RQ. So these are the 10 terms you can find in the question. So what are the things you cannot find in question? Jualan bersih, belian bersih, kos belian, kos barang untuk dijual, kos jualan. Because all these are actually results from your plus or the minus. So that's why we actually will only see them when you are doing the format itself. Okay. And so here, a lot of people don't understand the plus and the minus. So why minus? Why plus? Mainly because this entire cost jualan section represents belanja. The entire section is belanja. So whenever I'm doing belanja, right, if it's related to getting the expenses increase, we will plus. But if it makes the expense decrease, then we will minus. Example, pulangan belian. What does it mean? I buy and I return the items back. If I return it, will my expenses increase? No, expenses will decrease. So that's why pulangan belian, the effect to belanja is to make it lesser. But meanwhile, we say angkutan, upah, duty, and insurance. All these are extra costs on top of it. Of course, it will be affecting my belanja in a positive way, okay? So we only deduct if it makes the belanja lesser, but otherwise all is to be combined, okay? So once we have gotten the hasil and the belanja group, then now it's time jualan bersih tolak kos jualan, we get untung atau rugi kasar. So if you find penyata form difficult, right, trust me, it's already very direct because your answer, if it's positive, you show positive. Negative, you show negative. You don't have to move them around. If we're talking about a T shape, right, you have to go left side and right side. That is even more confusing. So penyata format, the answers are very direct. So if you get a positive, you will call that untung. If you see a negative, you call this rugi. Is that okay? So no changing of forms one. Positive means positive. Negative means negative. Don't have to change them. And now we will connect it to the bottom part where you see hasil and belanja to be added. So every time as you begin the section, you make sure you put a title first, plus hasil. So all things will be grouped on the second column. Belanja as well, grouped on the second column. So the reason why they won't be affected is because they don't mix up. Can you see that once I finish combining my hasil, I actually will draw a line here. So this line is to tell you that hasil is done. It has gone to the third column right now. I will combine it with the untung, okay? And then later, as I finish my belanja, I will also draw a line to state that it's done. I bring back to the third column where it will affect the untung or rugi in a negative way, okay? Kasa means it's a rough figure, so it's not finalized yet, just halfway, okay? Just halfway. So kasa is partial. We're not done yet. It's only partial of the answer. So if you want the final figure, then it's bersih. Final or full. So that's considered kasa bersih's explanation. I would say you can see it this way. Okay, yeah? Right. So now I will be showing you guys how you can answer your questions using this format. Okay, you have to memorize it actually. But if you find memorizing very difficult, my suggestion is you force yourself to write this upper section at least 3 times. You copy the full version of it. Now, of course, you can avoid the right side first. You just mainly focus on how the terms work, okay? Once you can remember the full version, however they miss out, let's say Audi, they only give you A or U. It doesn't matter because as long as any one of them appear, then we will plus. So even if it doesn't comes out, then we don't add lah. So it's the concept of flexibility. You must know the full format in order to change the sequence of it. So if let's say there's lesser things, then of course your format become shorter. So we will go by the question. Okay, right. So now with example numbers given, we will do the full question of account perdagangan dan untung rugi together. So I need you to prepare calculator. Is that okay? Because we will calculate along lah. So now we come back to our page 27. Can you see this, yeah? Right, so first of all, I don't think you should rush into labeling every single one of them here because that will get so messy. Once you finish labeling, you don't know where, what to take, and so on. Now, I would say focus on only one section as of now. Which section is the most important and you cannot avoid? Account perdagangan. Because it's the first format in front. You cannot avoid, correct? So we have to do account perdagangan first, okay? Now, whatever that belongs to the account perdagangan will be labeled as AP. Is that okay? If you label AP, means that that is for account perdagangan. And I teach you how you can find them very quickly, okay? Now, account perdagangan is related to trading. Trade will be involving barang niaga. So the terms that we have for barang niaga are for inventory awal, inventory RQ, jualan, belian. These 4 is the main ones. I can have nothing else, but these 4 must always be there, okay? Now, after you look for these 4 already, you see if the jualan and the belian comes with pulangan jualan, pulangan belian or not. So that makes it 6 items already, okay? Now, we have another 4 more. That 4 is called A, U, D, I. So that makes it 10. Is that okay? So you always look for this 10 first. Okay, come. So we go to the list. First one, we look for inventory awal, inventory RQ. Can you see? Pada 1st August, pada 31st July, 2 different periods. So the one with the first is inventory hour. The one with the 31st RQ. Now, maybe you guys think that they have mistakenly put the wrong dates, but no, these dates are normal because it started with 2023 August. Then if I want it to be 12 months long, it will end on the next year, July. So it's totally normal for the current question. Their tempo is 12 bulan, starting from August 2023, ends on next year, July. So that is a full 12 months there. So don't worry about the date. As long as you know, every time as it's a first, it's always our 31st RQ. Okay, so I will label beside of it AP. Okay, found it already. We have another two more important ones to look for. Jualan dengan belian. So, jualan. Belian. Does it come with pulangan? Yes, okay. On the same section, can you see also the pulangan? So, we will put AP, AP. But know that they are a pair, okay? Belian is with pulangan belian. Jualan is with pulangan jualan. Okay, so they are a pair. Belian, pulangan belian. Jualan, pulangan jualan. Of course, the effect is in a negative form because pulangan means you will return, but it's okay. We will decide that later. Okay, so then one more that is appearing here is this one here. Insurance, because it comes with the word atas belian, so it fits into our requirement of AUDI. Now, you guys remember that Audi stands for angkutan, upah, duty dengan insurance is a group, right? But is it necessary for me to always have all four of them? No, they can come up with one of it. It's fine. So if we see it, then we will take it. Okay, right? So total, how many things given that is related to AP? It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you say, teacher, how sure are you that there are no more? Say, guys, the only possibility left is in your Audi, insurance came out already. You only can find A, U, and D. Do you see any angkutan masuk? Upah, duty? No, none of them. Okay, if it doesn't appear, means that there's nothing else for your AP already. So now, don't look for other things. Focus on arranging these 7 items into your format. Is that okay? Right, so same. This page 28 format, right? Actually, I prepare so that we can do it in class easily. But in exam, they will just give you a test pad paper. So what you're supposed to do is, you will draw the lines yourself, okay? So here is a title line that you draw. Draw the title line already. Then by the right side, you move 3 columns to the front. You make 1, 2, and 3. And that's all you need to draw. Is that okay? So your paper will just come with 4 lines in total. Yeah, just draw this and then you can start writing the title. Just copy from the part A. Okay, copy the name as your title. Put down 3RM then you can begin already. Okay, so remind yourself in account perdagangan, the main point is to get jualan, tolak, cost jualan. Okay, we want to find out what is the untung or the rugi kasa. Now, once we found it, as we move on to untung rugi, we will plus hasil, that is the rest, minus belanja to get untung atau rugi bersih. Okay, someone's asking me how many marks is this, just writing the format. This one here, full mark, if it's under bahagian B, is 20 marks. So they will show it beside lah, 15 and 5. Okay, right. The format itself actually do give you marks, but not every single section because they will depend on whether the answer you found is correct to give you marks. So if the answer you provide is different, even the format is correct, you also cannot get the full marks. Okay, KJ is cost jualan. Short form, cost jualan. So because here, of course, I don't want to write the full names already because it will be so time consuming. So I'm telling you, it's called jualan, tolak, cost jualan. Sales minus cost of sales to get whether I earn money from selling the product or not, okay? And then proceed with the rest of the hasil and the belanja, income and expenses to see if I get untung or rugi per se, okay? Right, so now let's begin. First thing, jualan comes in first. So, jualan. Can it be other things to start? No, always jualan. Cannot be other things, okay? So jualan must begin. So where's jualan? Look at your list. Jualan is 28,990. So I always say, you start from the right to the left. Left, back to the right. So right side, 28,990. This is the column where you put the answer. Okay, now jualan do come with a pulangan. So pulangan's effect is to make my sales lesser, because the customer returned to me. Of course, I will earn lesser lah. That's why here, it will be deducted from my jualan minus pulangan jualan. Now guys, if you ever notice that the pulangan given is in this name, masuk, is also equivalent to pulangan jualan. They are the same meaning. Okay, so why? Because the reason is I sell, the product goes out. If the customer return to me, where would the product go? The product will come back in. So that's why it's called a pulangan masuk when it's being returned by my customers. Okay, right. So this return of sales to be deducted is 1160. So we will have to minus this out from my jualan. So how much is it that we actually get from sales after deducting? Throughout the year, our sales is only 27,830. So this is already confirmed as my final amount of jualan. So we call it jualan bersih. Okay, so after you are done with your jualan, this section will be occupying the third column. Okay, they will be there, fixed there. So now whatever steps you want to do coming, they will have to use the second column or the first column. That is what? That is our cost jualan, the burger format. Remember, just now I tell you guys, the burger. You want to do them where? You want to do them on the first column for the patty and the vegetable. The bun must come at the second column. So let's begin by writing the title first. Tolak cost jualan. Now this is to say I am about to start calculating, but do I have the final amount yet? I do not have it. So now I'm telling you the following section that we are doing plus minus is all for what? Is all to get the cost of sales. So we haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it right now. Okay, so the title is necessary. You cannot be writing the steps without it. Okay, so title comes first. This row must be empty. Empty. Okay, so start with first layer. Inventory hour given to us is 1,900. So you copy this answer, okay, put to the second column. So how did I decide again? I said you don't jump queue. Now the currently occupied column is third column. If you want to move to the front, you can only go one step at a time. So currently, if you want to start a new step, it only can be on the second column. Okay, so it's after this inventory hour. As I try to calculate my berlian, then I have to move one step forward again. Now, the reason why berlian needs to move one step forward is because of this 13,800 comes with pulangan berlian. There are changes happening to the berlian. So if you need to deduct only from the berlian itself, of course, I have to group them somewhere else, okay? So my berlian moved to the front because of this step here, minus pulangan berlian. Okay, now we said the pulangan berlian is 830. We need to deduct out, right? And as of now, you will be struggling. Teacher, do my answer put on the first column here? Or can I already move back to the second column? Answer to ask yourself is, does the answer here have anything else to do later? Do you have Audi or not? Any one of the Audi also can. You do have, right? Remember this? Insurance atas berlian. Now, if you do have an insurance atas berlian, this will make the berlian's expenses increase a little bit. So that's why, as I take 13,800 deducted by 830, I will still rename the answer temporarily on the first column, calling it the berlian bersih, before we proceed to add on insurance atas berlian. Okay, now once again, if you're getting confused on when to plus, when to minus, let me remind you, the entire section now here are considered belanja. If it's something that is similar to expenses as well, it will be increased. If it makes the belanja lesser, it will decrease. Okay, so actually we don't really minus a lot. We only minus the pulangan berlian and the inventory RQ because those are the amount of products we didn't get to sell. But if it's insurance, it's an expense. We have to increase on top of it. Okay? So insurance atas belian to be paid is 1280. Sorry, 1280. Okay, so you see now, checkpoint. This is your burger patty. This is the vegetable. Okay, no tomato, no cheese, just vegetable, one layer. Okay, so we got it already on the first column. It's time now that we assemble them to go with the bun. So the answer will go back to the second column where you add together, becomes 14250. Now we should have a name for the 14250. What is this amount considered? It's only belian itself, right? So this section, we will call it the cost belian. In English, we said it's a cost of purchase to buy new products. What are your total costs? Okay, and now, can you see the old and the new stocks have finally met with each other? So we will combine the old and the new to get the total. And that total, we will call it the cost as well, but it's called barang untuk dijual. Isn't it true? Because I said I take the old and the new together. Those are the items I can sell. But did I manage to sell them? No. That's why we have to do one more step where you deduct your inventory RQ. But now just combine first, yeah? Add together with the 1009. Total cost we have spent so far on all of the products is 16150. But in the end, we still did not manage to sell 2350 of them away. So that's why if we didn't get to sell them, please remove it from the cost. Tolak inventory RQ. Okay, now by the way, guys, I'm just saying first, yeah, those bracket that I put beside of the for the negative and the positive, right, it's not necessary one, but I think it's more obvious if I do this, you can see clearer. Now, if you don't want to put the bracket, you could just put minus plus, but some school teachers will require you to write tolak tambah. So if you see them asking for that, then you better follow your school teacher. Okay, right. So once we have minus the inventory RQ, you see your burger is already fulfilled. Right, the buns are in. We also have the content in the middle already. The cost jalan is ready. We will serve it to the third column. Okay, so now 16150 minus 2350. Here, 13,800 is what we considered the cost jualan. Okay, so you can note down how you get cost barang untuk dijual is when you take the inventory awal added with any stage of the belian. You see, it can be just belian itself. It can also be when it's cost belian. So whenever the inventory awal is involved, then it will become cost barang untuk dijual. Okay, so then now the cost jualan, what is it supposed to do? Remember your title earlier? You said it's supposed to be ditolakkan daripada jualan per se. So please add a bracket on your O to tell them that this is meant to be minus of. So now we have gotten jualan tolak cost jualan. Can you earn money from this stage? Say yes, because your sales is 27,000, right? 27830. If we deduct 13,800 total, we will still earn 14,030. And this is what we call the untung kasa. You are telling your boss that this is only partial of it. Can you really earn in the end? I cannot really tell because now we still have to go on further with what? Tambah hasil tolak belanja. But as of now, if you are able to manage until this point, I think it's smooth for the following parts already, okay? So you just need to make sure you practice a lot on this section because they will change sometimes when it comes to the Audi, okay? Right. What happens if I place the price wrongly at the 3 columns? Actually, they will deduct your marks because the format is wrong. Okay, none of the place can change. Whatever I show you here is fixed. Unless, okay, unless I'm telling you that your format is this. Means no Audi, no pulangan belian. Okay, you see, there will be 3 columns, right? If there is no pulangan, no Audi, then your inventory hour and the boolean can go directly together. Why? Because I got no other numbers to adjust for my boolean already, correct? So boolean itself represents its own, which is a cost boolean, and that is when you will get your answer as cost barang untuk dijual. Can you understand? So actually, right, the first column, is it always must be used? No, it really depends on whether your boolean has any calculation or not. If your boolean got no changes at all, there is no need for me to go to the first column, right? I could just put it on the second column to group with the old stocks together. So I'm just telling you, there are chances for you to not use the first column. If there is no pulangan, there's no Audi. No point for me to go there. But the moment there is pulangan, there is Audi at least, then I will have to put on the first column already. Okay? So I give you the possibility, but the rest you cannot put wrong places. Only the boolean might have changes, but the rest all is fixed. Okay? Jalan must be here, cost jalan must come back to here. Okay, yeah? Right, so now we move on to the bottom where you start to plus with hasil minus belanja. Is it guaranteed that we must have hasil? No, because for the bottom section, guys, hasil is side income. Not every business will have side income. So if I have no hasil additional, then we can straight away tolak dengan belanja. But for this question, we do have it, okay? You see, we have taken everything that is related to account perdagangan already. So my technique is like this. You guys have probably memorized your asset, liability, and EP, which in case you guys are not sure yet, what's asset, what's liability, and what's EP? I forgot already, teacher. You can actually revise based on page 7. Okay, I give you the full list here. So you can remember by asset, liability dengan EP. Belanja and hasil usually don't memorize because the types are so many. It's very hard to memorize every single one of them. Now, of course, we do have some common ones like gaji, kada bayaran, sewa. Those you can recognize, then you just put lor. But if you couldn't, then you go by the asset, liability, and EP first. So you see, model. This one here, we don't have to write the date later. Just go by model hour. This is an EP. Okay, continue. Account belum terima. Asset semasuk. Account belum bayar. Liability semasuk. Okay, now the entire section 2 here is done for already. So skip them, come to the next section. Now, do you see any asset, liability, or EP? Guys, none of them are assets, liability, or EP. So skip and you go to the last 2 sections. Lengkapan is ABS. Perabot as well. Tunai AS. Ambilan is negative EP. Bank AS. Pinjaman bank is LBS. Now, once you already identify all of the assets and the liability EP available in the question, whatever left must be belanja. Otherwise, then it's hasil. So how can you tell if it's hasil or belanja? Very obvious one. The moment it comes with diterima, hasil. So this is where we label as H. So for the rest of them, bayaran, of course, it's belanja lah. Now, what's a kada bayaran, by the way? Kada bayaran includes all the bill, electric, air, telephone. So all the utility bills are basically, guys, okay? So it's considered kada bayaran. Alat tulis as well, considered as an expense because you purchase stationeries. You have to spend money buying them, right? Sewa is rental. And this one, faedah is interest rate. But how we know if the interest is good or bad? Because of the word pinjaman bank, okay? You are getting a loan from the bank. Of course, the bank charges you for interest. So this is a bad faedah. And there is good faedah lah. If it's a faedah simpanan tetap, then it's a good one, okay? Then gaji belanja as well. Okay, now once you all have finished labeling, can you all see that the hasil only has 1? So what happens now is that according to my format in page number 9, hasil shown is given 2. So when I have 2, I have to group it, right? Correct, guys? When I have 2, I have to group it. But if I only have 1, do I still have to group it? Let's say I have only 1 commission. I put 1,009 here. Then I write again 1,009 here. Do you guys think there's a point to it? No. So whenever your hasil only appears to have 1, you do not need to move in front. no need for that. Your hasil can now straight away be written into the third column. We will do this. Tambah hasil. Draw a line because it's a title. Commission diterima. Okay, what's the answer? In the list, commission is 800. You bring this answer directly to the third column, where you can straight away add with untung kasar. Because the whole point of it is I want untung kasar to plus with hasil. But the reason we put in the second column is due to what? When I have multiple hasil, multiple extra income, then of course I need to tell my boss that, oh, this year you have 2 to 3 side incomes, and they are total to this much. But if I only have one, then this is already representing the total. So you remember, we only put at the third column because there are no calculations. If you have 2 or more, can you go to the third column? Never. It's always on the second. Every time you need to group them separately, you go in front and never to the first. Why? In that way, you are skipping queue already. You will fall down the stairs, okay? So you make sure when you are walking down the stairs, you go by step. Is there any necessary is it necessary for us to go to the first column at all? No. That's why from the third, maximum you can come is the second column. But now only one number, then no need. Okay, so add together as of now, your income is 14830. Is this income going to be able for us to pay the belanja and still have leftovers? Who knows? If there's no more leftovers becoming negative, your business are now in kerugian. Okay, so we will carry on the next row. Minus belanja. Now, do not rush to write the numbers. Put the names first, okay? So, belanja that we have. Hada bayaran, alat tulis, sewa, faedah pinjaman. Okay, I copy this 4 first. Hada bayaran, alat tulis, sewa, faedah pinjaman bank. Okay, and the last one is at the last of the list, gaji. Okay, now, what's the reason of us writing the names first? Because I'm trying to let you know that your belanja does not have only one. You have more than one, correct? So when there is more than one, should I tell my boss how much is the extra belanja? Yes. So in order to find the belanja itself only, without having the 14,000 involved, I will group them at the second column. Okay, I will move one column to the front. So we will put all the numbers to the second column. Okay, kada bayaran 2190. Alat tulis 900. Alat tulis is 900. Sewa is 4,800. Faedah pinjaman bank 500. And gaji 18,000. Okay, so I would say it's a bad news now because only with the gaji, 18,000 is already way more than your upper income. Okay, so you're expecting a kerugian here already. But it's okay, let's just do it for the boss first. Combine all of the belanja together to show him what is the extra expenses right now. Total of the extra expenses that is not included with the barang niaga is 26,390. Now, why do we put the bracket there? Because we are about to show them the minus process, okay? So I'm going to take the 14,830 minus the 26,390, and to find your boss, negative 11,560. So this answer, we will consider it as rugi bersih. Okay, you are done with part A of the question. So this is total to how many marks? Let me see. It's gonna be 15 marks for your question 4 here. Okay, and now if you want to proceed for your bahagian B, which is the part B PKK, right? You make sure to bring this answer, rugi bersih, back into your kertas soalan so you are aware of it. Why? Because this 11560 will affect the equity per minute. I want you to find a spot and write it there. As you put it here into the list, you don't need to show negative anymore because all you need to do is label them in a negative EP form. So later when you're doing PKK, you would be aware that your EP section comes with three things, beginning with model awal, having to minus rugi bersih from your part A outcome, and also to minus ambilan to find model RQ. Okay, right. So the PKK part, right, I would just say that you all can refer to the format on page 10 to try doing it because this part here, right, you guys can ignore the section up here. Because as of now, right, your chapter does not have S&T nilai buku yet. Okay, so this part only appears in bab 8. So as of now, right, you don't worry about this thing. You refer to only how you place the columns for your ABS and AS. So they will only use 3 columns. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you is later as you do your PKK in page 29, you make sure the 3 columns works the same way as per your APUR as well. So you start from the 3rd column, move to the 2nd, move to the 1st. So who will use the 3rd column? Your ABS will use the 3rd column because they are 1st group. 2nd group is your asset semasa, and 3rd group is liability semasa. Okay, so finish already, then your EP will use the 3rd group, your LBS will use the 3rd group. Okay, so you can try first. The answers are all given in the Google Drive already in our website. So you can refer to that once you finish. Okay, so as of now, I will stop until page 28. Okay, yeah. So now, what's the remaining things that we are going to be doing next? Okay, since we finished with 2.2, account perdagangan dan untung rugi, next up, I'm going to be covering chapter 1 topics with you guys. Because chapter 1, right, I think, okay, I have summarized some of the parts where I think usually comes out in your exam paper. Okay, I call them the important subtopics. Okay, so we start from page number 2 then. Okay, now what you see in page number 2, right, is called the gitaran per accountant. Most likely, this one will be asked in paper 1. Okay, most likely lah. But paper 2, if they want to ask, it is also possible by the question just now. Can you all see like your kertas soalan? I give you bahagian A. Question number 1 are structured questions where they will ask direct answers like which gitaran is this? You have to know, okay? Now, we have total of 8 peringkat, 8 stages in your gitaran. So the first stage is called the document, where what do they show in document? Document is where they show urus niaga berlaku. Okay, urus niaga berlaku. So if you see that their explanation is related to urus niaga, then it's document. Because a document is a proof where the transaction has happened. Okay, so if there's no transactions at all, I will have no documents. Okay, then now, after you have the urus niaga happened, we will then record the documents into buku catatan pertama. So here is to record urus niaga daripada daripada document. All right, so mainly what it does is, okay, I will get information from the document and we record it further into the buku catatan pertama. Okay, so that's what you do. You record the urus niaga. Now, does Leja do the record as well? So maybe you guys will be thinking, I thought all the steps also record, got difference, meh? So yes, got difference. Document is where the transaction take place. Buku catatan pertama is where you record the transaction itself. You are summarizing them. Which kind of transaction goes to which book, okay? And so when it comes to Ledger, Ledger is in charge of cari bagi setiap account. Okay, so you see, if in my buku catatan pertama, I had 20 transactions happen, and these 20 transactions happen to come up with about 12 different names. Butil, example, perabot, kenderaan, inventory, there is also bank, tunai, all these. All these butil will then come into ledger, opening each and every one of their own account that is in the T shape, and the task of ledger is to find out the balance of it. Of the month itself. So ledger only do 1 month each lah. Okay, so every month you have to do once of the account. So you will keep updating the balance until the end of the year. Then you will get like the final figure of it. So like I say, perabot at the beginning of the year, first month, January, is only 2,000. When it comes to the second month, it increased by 5,000. Now what's the latest balance? 7,000. So ledger is actually in charge of calculating the balance itself. Okay, so once we found the balance already, what's next? We will come into Chapter 6, Imbangan Duga. Now, I believe some of you guys will have this in your exams if your teacher mentioned that, okay? But don't worry, because Imbangan Duga, right, what they do is senarai bagi dari ledger. So what it does is actually to list out all of the balances that you see in the ledger log, because we say that, let's say here got 12, then I have to open 12 ledger in total. And every single one of the ledger comes with a bagi, right? So how can I summarize it in the end? We will be using the imbangan duga. So it's like a list where I put all the numbers out lah. So if your teacher ever says that chapter 6 is coming out in your exam, what you can expect is sistem catatan bergu. They will give you the imbangan duga in this manner, where the two columns on the right side is not just RM, it will represent the debit and the credit. So this debit and credit, right, what they will list out for you is according to klasifikasi law. Assets and belanja number will sit on the debit. Hasil EP liabilities number will sit on the credit side. So that's exactly what an imbangan duga show you. So they just list out for you. Okay, so if the boss wants to look for assets, right, they will just look on this column itself to find the numbers. But if the boss is trying to look at liability, they will look at the credit. So that's the exact reason why we have an imbangan duga, because in the end, we again want to find, it repeats again, A equals to L plus EV, right? Okay, so at the end, we just want this in the imbangan duga as well. Okay, but now, since it's already at the year end, we somehow might realize some problem at the end of the year. So maybe some things that we have left out, we will then do it in where? In the pelarasan stage. So pelarasan is to do adjustment. Okay, so to do adjustments. Now, mainly the pelarasan, right, we will be learning it in chapter 8. Okay, so chapter 8 itself, right, the task of it is to make sure that all of the hasil and the belanja, which the income and expenses, goes according to our tempo perakaunan. Which means that now I will give you a specific range of time. For this year itself, I want you to be calculating things starting from 1st Jan 2024 until 31st December 2024. So that is my requirement. Okay. Now, sometimes in the month, okay, we record all the payments and stuff. The boss may have in advance paid for the future. Okay. Example, now we're in December month. The boss have accidentally paid an advance payment for next year, January. So what happens now as my task as an accountant, I will have to make sure the payment that he did for 2 months, I will need to help him split to actual this year's figure and next year figure. So I split the figure out. So 1 month will come into our report as a belanja. The other month will go as an asset to the next year. Why? Because it's a prepayment, it's an advance payment. So in the pelarasan stage, right, mainly what we do is to make sure all of the records are according to the current period only. any advance payment, we will have to record them separately. So that's what you do in chapter 8, pelarasan. Okay, so once finished with the pelarasan, you see, we have to prepare the imbangan duga again, but the version is called terselaras. So it's the renewed version. So basically, it's after the adjustment, then we will do it again. So it's exactly looking the same with the existing number. Keep that. Even if there's no changes, we will still copy it back. But those with the changes, we have to make sure we take the latest balance. Okay. And then catatan penutupan. Menutupkan semua account. Whichever account that we have yet to close, we will close them by now. And then we will start doing financial report. Penyata keuangan. Yeah, so that's it for the full cycle. Kitaran perakaunan. So what you need to know is the keywords lah, okay? Whenever they talk about document, urus niaga, then you choose document. If they say baki, you choose ledger. But be careful, if it's senarai versus cari, different one. To find baki is ledger. To list out the baki is in imbangan tuga. So you'll be aware of the keywords in front lah. Okay, so kitaran is fun. And now we move on to what I think usually school teacher will just bring through, then comes out in exam. That is the page 5. Okay, are you guys done here? Can I move on? Okay, come. So page 5. This part usually I don't say in class a lot, but I guess it's kind of possible to come out in your exam, especially paper 1, paper 2 lah. Okay, I'm afraid of that. So now page 5, what you see is ciri qualitative of a penyata keuangan. So we're talking about not other things, not the person, but the report itself, okay? So what does it mean by qualitative? We're mentioning about the quality of your report, okay? So how can you consider your quality of the report as a basic quality or an advanced quality? So asas means basic. Tingkat means advanced. Basic, advanced. So of course, at the advanced level, right, you would expect it to fit to many expectations, okay? People can understand, even people that are not in the field of finance, they don't understand accounts, they look at your report, they can immediately understand. So this is what you want in the advanced stage. But if it's just basic, right, what we seek for is just really basic lah. You must make sure that the report is relevant. Okay, so the first one is relevant. It must be related to whatever I need. So you show me in that. And while the second one is called wakil benar. It represents the truth. So this is what you want to see in the report, okay? Basically, you have to make sure it's of true facts, no false facts at all. You're not lying to me. And the things that you're showing me is relevant to what I need to see as of now. So this is what we call ciri qualitative asas, okay? Now, you'll be aware of the questions here. If the question asks you, berikan contoh ciri qualitative. Remember? Dua jenis. Your answer is ciri qualitative asas, ciri qualitative tertingkat. So that's how you get 2 marks, okay? But if they say, berikan contoh ciri qualitative tertingkat, then you will have to give them 4 types of it. Ciri qualitative asas is 2. So the 2 for asas is kerelevanan and perwakilan benar. But if it's tertingkat, guys, I personally think tertingkat is easier than the asas, okay? Why? Because boleh faham, can understand, boleh banding, can be compared, boleh sah, can be trusted, and as well as masa, time frame. Okay, we're talking about timeliness, okay, whether you are on time or not. So the ciri qualitative tertingkat, to be honest, you feel like it's a very easy standard, but honestly speaking, it's not that easy, you know, because I want it to be boleh faham for every party that is viewing. Even an outsider, when they look at the report, they can easily understand what you're doing. And that's actually quite advanced, because in order to do that, your report must be simple at the same time, also very detailed. Okay, so that's the thing lah. Boleh faham, mudah difahami. Okay, now don't worry, they won't ask you one. But even if they do in paper 1, they will just say, apakah ciri kualitatif tertingkat di bawah? One of the points is mudah difahami. You choose the one that relates to Faham. Okay. Now, I personally think that the ones that you all might get confused with is perwakilan benar and kebolesahan. Okay. Because wakil benar is that we don't put any wrong facts inside. Okay. There is no like faking. So I must be honest. So, and then over here, kebolesahan is your details must come with proof. Okay, so I have like documents to back up with that. So there's a bit of difference there, but usually perwakilan benar will have more points. Okay, so you look at the choices of it, and to be careful of when they give you the choices, did they mention asas or tertingkat? If they say asas, definitely you choose perwakilan benar. But if you find them saying jujur, tidak salah, then it's the tingkat that they're asking for, you can choose boleh sah. Okay, so it depends on really the requirement of the question. Okay, and now the bottom, I actually find it, I actually think that it's not necessary to put in, but I still am afraid that some students don't know how to differentiate. So you see, we're talking about pengguna, not to use it, but we're talking about the users of financial report. Who will use it? We're talking about the person, okay? So total, the users, we have two groups, dalaman, luaran. Now, the meaning of dalaman is internal user. Within the company. Okay, while when we say pengguna luaran, we are talking about outsiders, people who are not related to my business, okay? But we might have a relationship with them because we want to have maybe like business partners, okay? We want to work together for a project and things like that lah. So the internal users, right, is only 3 of them. Pemilik, the owner. Number 2, the management team. Sorry, it's typo, management. And also, number 3, workers. Okay, and this usually comes out in paper 1 so I just hope that you all know how to choose. But when it comes to pengguna luaran, I say pihak bank is the banker for loan. Pinjaman. The reason we show them the report is because now I want to obtain loan from them. Okay, teacher, there's no more objective question. I didn't put paper 1 in the set. Yeah, I didn't. So maybe if you want to do paper 1 question, you can like search online because there are quite a lot of online people that they upload paper 1 questions into the websites one. So you can find from Google or anywhere lah. So you just try to do them on a piece of paper, choosing A, B, C, D, check answer also can. Yeah, objective questions, yes. Everything is A, B, C, D. So I'm telling you now the keywords because in case if they ask you, they give you choices, then what are you supposed to choose, ma? So now this one is paper 1 related one. If it's paper 2, then it's also asking the same things lah. Okay, paper 1 is objective. All circle A, B, C, D. Okay, right. So now I said the pihak bank, they will use my financial report because now I'm trying to apply for loan. That's why they will look at my report. Okay. Second, pembekal are my suppliers. This is untuk kemudahan credit. Now remember, when you purchase products, you want to get stocks from your suppliers. You can actually bargain with them and say, I will pay you next month. If you supply me now, I pay you next month. Every month onwards, I will keep getting stocks from you. So it's like a business relationship, okay? So we try to get stocks from them constantly and to pay them a month later. So if we actually want to get the kemudahan credit, which is secara credit, okay, we will have to show them proof that my finances are stable. Okay, so agency kerajaan, the government. Why would they want to look at your report? Because the government will have you taxed every year. Okay, your income tax is calculated based on the profit of your business. So that's why the agency kerajaan will have you to submit your financial report so that they can get information about what is the income status of our country's people and as well as the tax they have to charge on top into your income lah, okay? So this is agency kerajaan. Now last one, pemegang saham are like my investors. So if I want to attract them to invest, of course, I need to show them the financial report for them to consider. So that's why you can see all of this, right? They are external. They are not considered with our company one. But if you see people who are working in the company, then of course your worker, your management, and the owner itself. Okay, right. So I'm done with paper one parts already. So now I will resume back with my paper two topic, that is the chapter 2 persamaan. Okay, so now I have only 10 minutes left. Time passes so fast. Okay, so now I would like to come to page 8 and tell you guys the format a little bit first before we start with the questions. So because even the question, right, I also not planning to do like the full one, but I only choose like 2 points for you guys to try in class. Okay, so page 8. This one here is very important. You have to definitely study for your paper lah, okay? Paper 2 will come up with persamaan. Now, I wouldn't say paper 1 won't ask, but usually when paper 1 asks, they will just make you do calculations, okay? So that will be easy because you've got choices ma. But if it's paper 2, you cannot fill up, means it's 0 marks already. That's very scary. So I make sure to focus on paper 2 lah, okay? Now guys, whenever you see the word secara credit or no payment stated. Okay, whenever you see there's no payment stated, which means that you don't see tunai, you don't see the word check ataupun bank, is most definitely secara credit. So the meaning of secara credit I already put here is called tidak berbayar. But it's because of what? Because now we are the one who buy, membeli. If I buy, of course I have to pay, right? Have I? No, that's why it's called tidak berbayar. But now, if I change my role, I make it as I am the person who's selling. If I sell, of course, I should receive. Have I received yet? No, that's why we call the person as A, B, B, A, B, T. Okay, so you always remember, these ones here are assigned according to our perspective. Who never paid? Me. Who never received? Me. So it's always us, okay? You don't think about your customers, okay? Think about yourself. But also, of course, ABB are actually representing the suppliers that you haven't paid to, and ABT are the customers you have yet to receive from. So that's basically the meaning of ABT dengan ABB lah. Is that okay? So right now, we have finished with the concept of ABT, ABB. And now it's time that we are gonna be explaining about what? Talking about the jadual itself. How are you supposed to fill up the jadual? So again, we go by A equals to L plus EP. It's the same concept, okay? So they will give you a list where usually you must know keywords to fill up, okay? Now, the front parts are all assets. You must make sure along the way, every single point that you fill up into the table, they will fulfill left equals to the right, okay? So it can be like this. Negative 200 on the left. 200 negative on the right. This is considered equal, okay? It can also be 100 plus 300. On the right, we see 400. This is also considered as balance. So I never said that you cannot go more than 2. You can actually have 3 or 4 things involved at the same time, but provided that the left and the right side are equals to each other, okay? So here, be careful that your model and ambilan dengan untung per se, they are used separately. Model will only be used whenever there are keywords such as bawa masuk, okay? While ambilan is only to be used if it's ambil kegunaan sendiri. So over here, I have student asking me, teacher, what if the ambilan is not for self-usage, it's for the shop? Then I said, if it's for the shop, that is not called ambilan anymore. If it's for the shop, that is considered as a hasil or a belanja already. So belanja lah actually is taken out. So how does it affect keuntungan then, guys? When I have hasil, it will be increasing my profit. But if there is expenses, this thing will get my untung to become lesser. Okay, yes, and one more thing. You cannot put bracket in the ambilan column because ambilan itself represents a negative EP. So whenever it comes to ambilan section, right, it will look a bit odd, okay? Example, I say, now currently we're in the third point example. My boss has taken out bank. So took 5,000 from bank. But when you put in ambilan, you will put this way. Okay, this is the latest way lah. So your teacher did okay. Now if your teacher did means she allow you to put bracket law, but I'm following the recent format where they don't allow for that. So if your teacher allows you, then that's best lah. You can put bracket. But mostly school teachers say cannot one. SPM cannot. They changed already. So I go by the SPM format. But truly speaking lah, guys, SPM actually more flexi than school teachers one. Yeah, SPM usually is very okay with all sorts of way as long as you can get the final answer correct. But of course, I should teach you what is supposed to be done. So I don't teach you like both ways. I only teach you one that is the correct way. The reason why we don't put bracket is because ambilan itself is already negative. If I put bracket again, negative means negative. That would make the ambilan positive. So that will defy the concept of negative EP already. So that's why I cannot put negative here. But at the end, right, as I put the total 5,000 down here, okay, you have to make sure that your calculations for the L and the EP is going to be like this. You will have to manually minus on your calculator. Okay, the number is of course shown in a positive form, but usually students will say, teacher, your answer wrong, is it? Why cannot left and right side cannot balance one? Then I will ask them, is it you press positive for your ambilan? If you did, then your left side and right side most definitely cannot balance, okay? So later when you guys are practicing chapter 2, right, you refer to my jawaban. If you ever find my answer weird, you say, teacher cannot balance one more. Then I say, you better check ambilan first because ambilan seems to be positive, but as you press on the calculator, it must be negative. Okay, right, so to remind you this lah. And now, yes, we come to the question that I want to discuss, yeah? Okay, so the soalan I take from the kertas peperiksaan as well. That is page number 18. Can you all find? Page 18. Now, I only have 4 minutes, but I try my best lah, okay? If I go over time a bit, you guys just stick with me a while, yeah, okay? Because just now my Mandarin session also, I use about 10 minutes extra. I hope that's fine with you all. Just I want to finish whatever important lah, okay? So page 18, Now, can you guys see that? They have given you a list of numbers. It's a bit like journal and the buku catatan pertama thing, like document questions, right? They also do the same thing one, just except that now these numbers are used to fill up first row. Sorry, first row of table. Okay, so this part is meant for your first row. So now we just copy in according to what's given, okay? First one, kenderaan, 54,200. Just put in. Second, 19,300, lengkapan. Third one, 28,200, inventory. Fourth one, 2,900, ABT. Okay, and the last asset that we have is the bank, 5,720. Okay, so once you have filled up the asset side, I would like you to draw this line to be thicker a bit. Now, by the time, if you say, teacher, I draw already, but doesn't seem to be very obvious, maybe you can draw your line behind of it. So it becomes a double line. You can see very obvious, this is where it ends. Okay, so then now is the L and the EP part, yeah? Our liability given, 1,570. 1,050. Now, don't worry, I will explain about the sewa thing. So, 1,570, 1,050. Now, you see, you all understand the concept of belum bayar, right? Belum bayar are the people who I haven't paid yet. Due to what reason? Due to belian secara kredit. I buy from them and I never pay. And now, what makes it sewa belum bayar? You can take a guess. Look at the term sewa. What's a sewa? Sewa is rental, you know. It was supposed to be a belanja. But if you never pay, what will it become? You never pay, then it also become a debt. Is that okay? So liability here defines all of the hutang. So even if the term you have never seen it before, if they put it under liability, it means that it's a debt to be paid. So later on, how can I make sure this amount I don't do wrongly? Now, hutang will increase as you owe more. But if you pay off, hutang akan berkurang. Just treat it like a normal liability. Is that okay? Don't be afraid of it just because it's a new term. And now, the model is not given. This is definitely not right. You're supposed to find it on your own. Even if they didn't give you this row, you know that you have to find model. It cannot be empty, okay? So how can we find the model? You use your calculator, total the left side first, then you minus these two liability. Can you all do that? Come. 54,200 plus 19,300. 28200, 2,900, and 5720. On our left side, you should get this number. This is asset, okay? You're going to deduct the 1570 and the 1,050. Minus that, and what is the model that you should get? If you all did calculate it, you should be getting your model 107700. Okay, so we found model already, yeah? And now that is it when we can begin. Okay, now I have students asking me, right? Teacher, what if there is no ambilan and there is no untung per se? So answer is, if ambilan or untung per se not given. Okay, these two are put into model. Can you understand? Because the main component of our EP is actually model. So even if there is no ambilan or untung per se, it works fine as well. Because in the end, what I want to find is, what's my final figure for the model? Is there any changes to it? If there is changes, then I will have to do upon my model. So because the concept of your model, right, in your format is to have EP calculated this way. Model awal tambah untung per se tolak ambilan to get model accurate, right? So you see, if really there is no untung per se or ambilan given, I could just easily plus it into the model, minus out from the model, and that's the end of it already lah. So put it into model, so the effect will be, ambilan usually cannot minus in its own column, but if you are putting it into model, you have to tell me the direct effect. As ambilan goes into model, it will cause my model to decrease, okay? But if it's the untung per se case, right, you be careful, because untung per se will be using two things, right? Hasil and belanja. So whenever it's untung per se related to hasil into model, we plus. If it's a belanja that we're trying to put into model, then we minus from it, okay? So definitely it's fine if there is no ambilan or even untung per se. But say first, these two have no relationship with each other. It cannot be, oh teacher, now I got no untung per se, I can put inside ambilan or not? Or I got no ambilan, can I put inside untung per se? No. The only thing they are related to is model. This is the similarity, okay? So when there is no ambilan, put it into model. Untung per se will stay untung per se, okay? There is ambilan, but no untung per se. Put it into model. No relationship with ambilan as well. Can you all understand? Okay, so now I will guide you with a few points, okay? So here in the list, right, we have point 1 to point 6. Make sure to fix it that you can never use two rows for each point. So each of your point, you are only allowed to use one row, okay? Only one row. So you fix it first, okay? Now, once you have put it already, make sure that the bottom rows, right, usually they will give you only one lah, but it's okay. I give you two here just in case. This row after the 0.6 is meant for the total, where you are supposed to calculate each and every column out. So then the last row of it is where you can group semua asset together, liability dengan EP. So you get a jumlah here for your assets and your liability EP law, okay? So now I will cover point number 6 with you first. Okay, now the reason why point 6 I want to cover is to show you how the ambilan works. Just now I give you an example, but now we actually show it. Okay, ambilan itself is already a negative EP. Can you put bracket further? You cannot. So in the case, per minute mengeluarkan 620 dari account bank untuk membayar yuran sekolah anaknya. You have to make sure every sentence involves at least 2 different terms. So the first term is bank. Second term is yuran sekolah anaknya. When there's anaknya here, anaknya got no relationship with the business, right? Is it a business expense? No. So this yuran unrelated to the business, and this we consider it as a personal expenses. So it's called ambilan. Okay. Now, bank most definitely is minus, but ambilan is to increase. Okay. So what you show on your point 6 is you will deduct the number from bank in a bracket form. Okay, whenever you want to minus, you put bracket lah. Okay, so bank deducted, but your ambilan will show positive like this. Is that okay? All right, so you'll be doing that. Yeah, so towards the end later, when you are calculating your L plus EP, just to remind you that this section, as you connect them, it must be a negative that you press. Okay, and even if the last number I see, I don't think there's any more ambilan in this question. Yeah, so even the number here in the end is a 620 positive. Later you press your calculator, you remind yourself to put negative. You press negative for that. Okay, yeah? All right, so that's one I want to cover. And next one, point number 2. Now it's about the sewa belum bayar here. Remember it's a debt, right? Okay, so what they say, pemilik membayar sewa, termasuk sewa belum bayar. Now, can you understand now in this sentence, there are actually 2 forms of the sewa. One is just sewa itself, which means it's a belanja. Another one is called the sewa belum bayar, which initially it's a liability, correct? So we are paying these 2 things off with a piece of check that it's worth 4,000. So that's why here, the 4,000 will affect the bank. How? How does it affect? If it's membayar, bank will decrease. So you know for one thing first, bank wouldn't decrease separately. It will decrease at once that you don't see this 4,000 anymore. On point 2, guys, your point 2 will be 4,000 deducted from the bank. Okay, now once you have deducted the 4,000, now you have to tell me how much does it goes to belanja sewa and how much does it go to the liability. Because when they say termasuk sewa belum bayar, right, they never say the price. So we would have to assume that they are trying to pay off everything. So to know the everything, you refer to the column here. How much is the sewa belum bayar? 1,050. So now if I'm trying to pay off the debt of 1,050, how much more left from the 4,000 is considered belanja, guys? Just take 4,000 minus 1,050. The remainder of it is just regular belanja sewa. Can you understand? So the total of these 2 figures must sums up to 4,000. That is the concept of it. And how should we record it, guys? Now, your liability now paid, no more, deduct. And also the sewa. As a belanja, it will affect who? It will affect untung bersih in a negative form as well. So as we put in, it will show like this. Minus 1,050 from the liability, sewa belum bayar. Once more, deducted from untung bersih 2,950. And that's it. You can see that for the same row, second point 2. Left side, negative 4,000. Right side also total to negative 4,000. And that's it. You are done with the second point. Is that okay, guys? All right, so I already show you how you're supposed to do it. So later for your sewa belum bayar, right, there will be nothing left. It's just 0 because you pay them off already. So of course there are some columns, right? It's maybe possible to become a 0. So if it's 0, then you don't have to use the number law. But if there's any remainder, you will combine them together. So all of your assets are supposed to be added. Okay. Meanwhile, L and EP also supposed to be added lah, but because ambilan itself is a negative, so you need to remind yourself to press minus later. Now, your untung bersih, right? I didn't say that it must always stay untung. It can also end up as a rugi. So if it's a rugi, what do? Your answer will be in bracket, right? Later you just minus it. Okay. All right. So please proceed to try point 1, point 3, point 4, and point 5 on your own. So you finish already, then can check your answers through the Google Drive lah. Okay. Someone asked me, can use pencil for PKK in exam or not? No, none of the answers can use pencil. You only can use pencil for one purpose, when you draw lines. Okay, lines you can use pencil, but if it's answers, you must use pen. Best black pen. Okay, then the blue pen, right, I recommend to bring, because now I don't think your school teachers allow you to use correction tape, right? Some really strict, they would say no correction tape at all. So I think, right, my suggestion, because I have students that are concerned about this part here just now, page 28, just now this format, right? What if I write something wrong and I want to change? And that's exactly why I say you bring blue pen in, so that, let's say, now, this is 13,800 that you're supposed to write, but you write wrongly. Or maybe not, I choose this one. Okay, supposed to be 14,030. Now you accidentally write like this. What you can do is, you can use another pen color, blue pen, cut it off, and put like this for your teacher to tell. Now, of course, you don't want to use blue pen. You want to use black pen to change, do correction. Also can one. But if you're scared it's not that obvious, you can bring a blue pen just for backup, okay? But do not use red pen. Do not use pencil. Must use pen. Okay, all right. So that's it for today lah, basically. I'm glad that you guys come for the class. I hope it helped you with some confusions as well. So y'all can try out the rest of the sets. I did put a lot of part 2 questions in here lah, but the rest is all in the Kertas Peperiksaan. So you try out first. If there's any questions, right, guys, remember you can ask me through my Instagram. Okay, otherwise you can find my videos from the YouTube lah. Okay, so I'll see you guys again next time. Bye bye. No problem. See you. Bye bye. Bye bye.